In a world where privacy is the new currency and surveillance is the silent tax we pay for security, the question echoes through the alleys and avenues of every modern city. Are we safer than we think? This story unfolds in the heart of Meridian City, a place once known for its vibrant markets, whispering trees, and jazz drifting through its wide boulevards. But Meridian had changed. It had become one of the first smart cities fully integrated with a real-time surveillance grid, AegisNet, a network of high-definition cameras, facial recognition, behavioral pattern AI, and predictive analytics. To some, AegisNet was a marvel of modern governance. Crime had dropped by 62% within the first 18 months. Missing persons were located in hours, stolen cars returned within days, and emergency response times had halved. Parents felt safer letting their kids walk to school, and shopkeepers no longer shuttered their stores in fear at dusk. But others saw something different. Beneath the polished data reports and gleaming public dashboards was a quiet erosion of trust, of anonymity, of freedom. Chapter 1. The Quiet Observer. Elena Vargas was a former journalist turned independent investigator. She had once reported from war zones, lived off the grid, and exposed corporate scandals. Now, she lived in Meridian's central district, her small apartment cluttered with books, old cameras, and digital counter-surveillance tools. After the mysterious disappearance of her friend Micah, an outspoken privacy rights advocate, Elena became suspicious. His last message to her had read, "They see more than they say. Follow the blind spots." She began retracing Micah's steps. Subway stations, street corners, parks, alleys. Every movement was logged by AegisNet. The system was built on transparency, or so they claimed. But as she requested footage from public terminals under the Freedom of Information Act, she noticed that hours of video from the day of Micah's disappearance were inexplicably missing or corrupted. She knew better. Chapter 2. The System's Skeleton. At the center of AegisNet was an AI core called Argus, named after the hundred-eyed giant of Greek mythology. Argus never slept. It processed petabytes of video in real time, learned behavioral cues, and categorized citizens by a civic trust score. It was touted as a tool for good. Prioritize ambulance routes, alert police to rising tensions, and even warn of mental health emergencies before they escalated. But what happened when the system decided someone was a threat? Elena found an ally in Darren Choi, a disillusioned AegisNet engineer turned whistleblower. Over steaming coffee in a basement cafe with no Wi-Fi and a busted security cam above the entrance, Darren laid it out. They say it's objective, that it has no bias, but it learns from us, our fears, our prejudices. It amplifies them. You know how the system works? It doesn't just monitor, it predicts. And when it predicts you'll be a problem, it starts to erase you. No arrest, no trial, just gone. Chapter 3. The Vanishing. Elena dug deeper. What she uncovered chilled her more than any battlefield had. There were hundreds, possibly thousands of people like Micah who had been flagged by Argus. Political dissidents, artists, activists, even eccentric loners. They weren't jailed. They simply disappeared. The official records were spotless. Friends and families were gaslit by public data. They never entered the station. They were never at that protest. We have no record of that interaction. Even memories were being overwritten by a new, digitized reality. Elena followed the blind spots Micah mentioned. Areas where signals lagged, where cameras blinked off for maintenance, or where AI struggled to process shadows and fog. That's where the resistance had moved. Off-grid libraries, low-tech communication, secret street art coded with hidden messages. She started publishing again, using pirate radio, dark web blogs, and guerrilla zines. The watchful eyes of the streets became a movement. The truth was not that surveillance had made the city safe. It had made it quiet. And quiet, she argued, was not the same as peace. Chapter 4. The Reckoning. Eventually, the public began to question. when a popular city councilman was flagged by Argus and subsequently removed from office without due process. Even those who had praised AegisNet began to wonder. If it could happen to him, could it happen to me? Protests bloomed like weeds between the cracks of the city. People wore masks, not because of disease, but to obscure their faces. Umbrellas were no longer for rain. They were shields from drone surveillance. The government, caught off guard by a movement they hadn't predicted, scrambled to respond. AegisNet was audited. Independent oversight panels were formed. Public access to surveillance data was expanded. The civic trust score was suspended. Micah was never found. But a mural of his face, painted across the wall of City Hall, became a symbol of resistance, and a reminder that safety, when imposed without consent, often carries a hidden cost. Epilogue. Are we safer than we think? Meridian City was never the same. It remained under surveillance, but the people became more watchful too. Not just of each other, but of the systems meant to protect them. Elena's final article before disappearing into anonymity herself ended with a simple line. Safety is not the absence of danger. It's the presence of justice. In the age of watchful eyes, the real question is not whether we are safer, but who decides what safe means, and who is watching the watchers.